find yourself eating because you're feeling a little bit down or a little bit low? Do you crave high sugary foods at certain times? Or do you reach for the sugary snacks when you're feeling a little bit upset or, down in the dumps? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then I suggest you watch this video. My name is Zoe Whitehead and I'm founder of The Whisper Tree, and I am a transference healer. I work one-to-one with clients and running a high frequency energy on them for deep shifts and alchemical balancing. I also run meditation workshops and spiritual workshops for adults, and I also go in schools and do mindfulness training alongside meditation and visualization for children, especially children who are struggling with those strong emotions. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what I like to call emotional binging. So it's basically comfort eating, or I think it's kind of called lots of different words or different terms. And this is something that I definitely do a little bit, not overly and not so much now, but I definitely have done in the past, and I occasionally do it now, if I'm perfectly honest with myself. And I started noticing it when at certain times during my life, certain times when I was struggling with things that were going on around me, with the family or whatever, or personally, I would put on a little bit of weight, just a little bit, and then I was thinking, well, I definitely have been kind of binging a little bit, or I really love chocolate. I'd eat a lot of chocolate, especially in those times. So a little bit of binging was going on. And I could recognize the triggers, and then I was thinking, well, actually, it's those times when I'm feeling a little bit low, and it's almost like I don't want to feel those feelings, so it's almost like I'm stuffing those feelings down with food. And I noticed that I was doing it when I was feeling a little bit low. I'd often do it as well when I was tired, but it was often when I was feeling a little bit low. So I kind of coined the phrase as emotional binging. And I was thinking about ways in which, because I recognised that I was doing it when I was feeling a little bit low, how I could support myself in a different way. Because I think when I'd started to reach for the really high sugary snacks or really gone for the cheese or whatever it was I was doing, I didn't feel great afterwards. So I was already feeling low and in a not so good space. But also on top of that, I would be binging and and eating all these foods that weren't particularly good for me, and that was making me physically not so good either. So it was kind of a lot to sort of take on board. So it got me to thinking into how I could kind of nip that negative cycle in the bud, really. So I think the first thing is to recognize that we are actually eating or binging, overeating, because we're not feeling great. I think that first of all, if we have an awareness just around that, that's really going to help stop that kind of negative cycle. And also recognizing what the triggers are, what's making us feel like that, because that's if we recognize the trigger and then think, right, I'm probably going to start feeling quite down, and then I'm going to be reaching for those high sugary snacks or just a lot of food that I'm going to be kind of eating. So, it's recognizing the triggers, recognizing that we are comfort eating, eating and binging a lot when we're not feeling great. Okay, so I think those are the first two steps, those two important steps. And then thirdly, it's about setting our intent. For me, intent is everything. It's setting that intent that, okay, we recognize that we're not feeling great. But also, instead of reaching for something in the cupboard or in the fridge, we then set that intent to feel that emotion, because basically that's what we don't want to do, right? We're stuffing that emotion down with food, basically. That's how I understand it. That's how, for me, it was happening. Now, obviously, it's not always the case. I understand that. But if it is what you're doing and you can recognize that, then you can just set the intent that, okay, I want to release this feeling, and I'm going to release that firstly by feeling it. And I know it's not always comfortable. It's so hard to do, especially when we're not used to doing it, because we suppress in different ways. And I think we all do that to a certain degree. So you're going to feel it and be uncomfortable in it. But what you're not going to do is link and allow your thoughts to attach to your emotions, because if you're doing that, you've had it. Believe me. I mean, I was going in some sort of negative spiral. When those thoughts and those feelings get together, it is a nightmare. So we've got to kind of stop that and not allow that to happen, so you can kind of just feel those feelings and say, okay, I'm having a crappy day. You know, it's not my day today. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And just even by doing that and recognize it and just allowing yourself to feel it, already you are starting to release the power of them over you, because that's what it is. You're just giving them, and we give our thoughts and our feelings too much power. That is all they are, is thoughts and feelings. And I think we should never forget that, ever, because, you know, once they've got power over us and they're totally controlling us, and we don't want those bad boys to be doing that, right? So we're going to set that intent to release them, you know, to release them, to feel them, to release them. Okay, now I'm going to give you a few tips just to help with that releasing process. The first thing is you've got to feel them. You've got to, however uncomfortable, because otherwise you're just suppressing. You're just suppressing. You might as well just go and eat, you know, a couple of whisper bars or whatever it is, you know, you do. Okay, so the first thing you could do, once you've allowed yourself to just sit with those feelings for a while, just do a simple breathing exercise. So a 4-part breathing that I like to do is I close my eyes and just kind of go inwards a little bit, still yourself, center yourself. And then you're breathing in just for your nose. You breathe in for the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Release for 4, 2, 3, 4. So just go at that speed. You know, just that breathing technique. And I think there's a video somewhere on my channel just with that breathing technique. That in itself will just allow you that space, create that space between you, you know, what I like to call your higher self, your spirit, your soul, and those more negative emotions and feelings. Just create that space, okay? So you're going to feel them. Well, firstly, you're going to set your intent to release and feels, and then feel them. Just allow yourself to feel them. Don't connect those thoughts, those feelings. And then just do your breathing. Just try that breathing. Another thing that you can do is just go into your, I'm just trying to raise up a little bit so you can see my heart, my hand there, just over the heart. I'm just going to set the intent to, it's going to be like a kind of a visualization. You're going to run a little bit of energy on your heart space. So you're going to open the heart. So you touch the heart area, twist, open to release. So you just, again, set your intent to release those negative, more denser emotions. Okay, so setting, release, release, release. And then with your right hand, you're going to run or sense or feel energy going into the heart, but it's an energy in the form of an emerald green light. So just imagine this emerald green light coming out of your right hand into the heart area. That's more the throat there, but I'm just kind of raising up a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Just setting that intent to feel that emerald light going into your heart area. And then again, sweeping out, releasing negativity, okay? And the last thing that you can do, you know, that there are lots of different techniques that you can do to help yourself. But one thing that I do find really, really helpful is, you know, to feel those feelings, to run the emerald green light, and then to bring in more heartfelt emotions of love, of joy, of compassion, of unconditional love. You know, those higher emotions, of those emotions of a higher frequency, a higher vibration. Just you know, recognize that you're feeling those dense emotions and think, well, actually, I want to feel higher frequency emotions, higher vibration emotions. So just bring in those feelings of joy, you know, set the intent to feel them. And it's not just thinking them, it's feeling them. You bring them into your heart and you just feel them. And you'll just totally change. It'll be like a miracle. you know, and you'll find that people will like to be around you because they feel that lovely high vibrational feeling, rather than that one of drudgery that we have when we're feeling those dense emotions. But it is important to feel them. I think you do need to go through them to be able to release. And I think by doing those simple steps, you will find that you'll probably not immediately and automatically reach for those high sugary snacks, reach for things in the fridge, reach for things in the cupboard, and, you know, do your emotional binging. Hopefully not. I really hope this has helped you, because thinking like this has really, really helped me. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share or comment. And remember, I'm posting every week on my channel with videos to help adults who are struggling with those strong emotions and parents whose children are also likewise struggling.